Weir and head coach Roxanne Hernandez just to talk about the end of the season. So, this being the comeback season for the Owls volleyball team, what are your thoughts on just the initial season?
Overall, I think that it was definitely a learning experience, both from the coaching standpoint, and I think the players would agree as well. It was really just a building year for everybody, between the administration and myself, figuring out what can we do overall for all the sports to kind of make student-athlete experience a little bit better, and then, obviously end of the season meetings that will come up will sort of help kind of bridge that gap between the players and the coaching staff. So overall, I think it was very good. I think it was a building year for sure.
Okay. And kind of as a standout player for the Owls, how was it, this being your first year of college ball?
Honestly, it was exciting. It was a learning experience, like Coach said. Just having the opportunity to play, that's a blessing because I just never thought that I would play in college. So pretty grateful for that.
Okay. And you're from Columbus, so just talk about your decision to come here to the W.
I'm okay with being close to home. I'll be okay with being far, but just knowing that the campus is small, so it's kind of like being with family still, and still having the opportunity to see my family, because I know some of the players don't have that. Mm-hmm. And another thing that I'm grateful for.
So what was kind of like your major selling point besides the campus size to say that I'm going to play Owls volleyball?
I want to be an elementary teacher, so I knew that they had a good elementary program, teaching program, and that was another decision, like a reason why I wanted to play here, just like the icing on the cake. Like I want to be a teacher, get a chance to play volleyball. I'm close to home, so it's
okay. So I know you've kind of told your story about how you've gotten here, but can you kind of just tell about your journey here, especially being from way out of state?
Sure, yeah. And so I am originally from Long Island, and when I graduated college from Canisius, I went back home and I was working about a year or so, working in a law firm, also just grad assisting for volleyball. And then I was the assistant coach at Post when I heard about this opportunity. And honestly, the girls at Post are great. They have a very strong program right now, but I needed to make a move that was going to be kind of a power move for myself, and really help advance what I want to do, which is to coach. So when the opportunity came up to build my own program, it was a no-brainer for me. I'm young, I have a great opportunity and a lot of time in front of me to learn. So like I said, no-brainer for me just to come on down here and start something from scratch.
Having a majority, freshman team, what are some of the positives that you saw with it being such a young team?
I think their adaptability is a little bit more fluid. In other words, they're a lot more willing to learn and bend than maybe an upperclassman who has transferred in and maybe might be a little bit more set in their ways. A lot of them have pretty much a clean slate, and this is the first time for them as much as the first time for me. So in this particular situation, I think the positives were the ability to not only explain to them the foundation I'm trying to lay, but also accept whatever it is that their criticisms might be, or suggestions, or pretty much ask them what they want to do, and give them some power and control too. So that was definitely one of the positives, is in terms of learning. They have a ton more in front of them than I think maybe some upperclassmen or incoming transfers might have.
Okay. And you as a freshman, what are some positives that you've seen, as a player and with your teammates?
I agree with what Coach said. It's a clean slate. We're not set in our ways still. We're still learning each other, learning ourselves. So just from that aspect, we're kind of ready to learn, ready to know about new things. It's a new program, so it's kind of exciting for all of us.
Okay, so I know you probably traveled a little bit with high school ball, but this is kind of a little different, going a little further, staying in hotels. So what are some happy memories of the season?
Okay, to be honest, but high school ball, it was completely different. Coming from, it's we bump, set, pass. It's just pass it over the net, pass it there. So that was very exciting, traveling. I love game days. It's a whole freshness about it. The whole experience is just cool. I never, saying before, I never thought I would have been playing college ball. So the whole thing's exciting.
You have a particular travel memory that happened specifically with you and one of your teammates or something like that?
I think it's probably a lot of them.
I know that you and Sarah are kind of back and forth a little bit.
I know one time on the bus, I was really tired and I wanted to kick my feet up, and Sarah so happened to be there. So she texted me and she threatened me. She was like, you put your foot on me again, I'm going to cut them off. That was pretty funny.
So just being with a new group of girls, do you have like some high points or some good memories over the season?
A lot of little things, honestly. I think that's one thing that I really appreciate about the girls is when you bring 13 to 15 young adult women together in a group, there's bound to be some sort of conflict, or there's bound to be clashing of personalities. And honestly, their off the court relationships are awesome. I mean, I really don't see any of that. So that's kind of a relief for me to not necessarily have to deal with right away. But and like I said, they're a great group of girls, and they're always keeping each other laughing and keeping me shaking my head laughing at certain things. And they've got great personalities overall, and I'm very lucky to have them.
So when it comes to, building your team, having a team that gels well together, like personality-wise, how important is that?
Super important. I cannot stress it enough. Now, of course, our on-the-court chemistry is always going to continue to need work. Like I said, I think the youth aspect of it helps a lot off the court, but may hurt us a little bit in terms of inexperience on the court. And so I don't want it to ever become me preaching at them what they need to do or what they have to do just because I say so. I want them to be able to experience it together and learn from both the positive things that came out of season and the negative things. And so, being able to maintain that relationship off the court, I think, is important because they know once they get on the court that they can continue to push each other out of their comfort zones, but once they leave those gym doors, that relationship will still be there.
Just looking at the overall record, it really doesn't, show how hard these girls worked. What were like some of the strengths that you, besides just being able to a young team that's easily molded, what were some of like the strengths, especially I think about the Judson game on the road where they just, even when they were down 0-6 in the 5th set, they were able to rally all the way back. What are some of the strengths that kind of keep pushing that type of performance?
I think that, again, their ability to learn has to be there, and the coachability aspect has to be there, and they need to buy into the process and continue to do that. Even if they're not 100% sure, I feel like my door is always open, and I tell them to communicate with me or the coaching staff if they're unsure about something that we're asking of them. And so I think it's important for them to maintain that open-mindedness, and I think that overall throughout the season they showed a lot of ability to understand which parts of the game were our responsibility and which parts we can kind of just forget about. I try to have a one-game mentality. I try to have a single-point mentality in terms of not dwelling on certain things that we really didn't do well, but learning from them and moving forward. And so I think that not just erasing it completely, but taking some of the negatives out of this season and learning from them. I think we did a good job of that here and there. Defensively, I'm very proud of where we come. We went a long way from where we started at. And so, I have the back line to thank. And offensively, we're going to continue to work with our setters to try to get all of our hitters in tempo. And I think overall, like I said, that open-mindedness just needs to remain present.
Okay. So, off season coming up, you still got a couple weeks of practice. How do you plan on building on the successes of this year and kind of working on some of the things that need improvement?
We've got the next pretty much couple of days and then next week to practice before Thanksgiving break, and so I'm using that time to alter between team practices and then some kind of split group sessions. And then moving forward in the spring, it's going to be about hitting the ground running in terms of conditioning, weightlifting, and individual sessions. So right now we've got 13, and if I can split them to even smaller groups, like 4 or 5, I think they get a lot more out of it. Yesterday was a perfect example. We split it up between pretty much offensive people and defensive people, and we had half in the weight room while the other half was in the gym, switch after an hour. And I think that with everyone's schedules and everyone's finals coming up, it starts to get a little bit stressed or stressful, so I don't want to put any more on them in that way, because again, they are freshmen and they still have a long way to learn. But I think that the goal for the next couple of weeks and then in the off season in spring is going to be to try to keep that individual training session and give them as many reps as possible.
Mm-hmm. And you as an athlete, what were some of the surprises that you had about playing college ball?
Surprises?
Yeah, what did you didn't expect?
I'm not sure. I really didn't expect to. I know it's a new program, but I didn't expect to play middle. Because, like, I guess I played outside and right side. I was excited for the opportunity because I feel like usually the middle is, like, the tallest person. So I was like, oh, coach believes in my athletic ability. But that was one thing. It's faster, the pace. Other than that, I really didn't expect much because it's a new program, and so I was just ready for kind of anything, and I'm ready for the next season.
Okay, and for people who may not be familiar with volleyball terms, can you explain the difference between right side, middle?
Okay, the middle is usually the middle person blocking left and right, or just in the middle hitting. Transitioning, had to work on my transitioning, which I came from the outside, so I had to like transition off the neck, coming back a little farther. But I had to learn in the middle, you just transition like at the little, is it the tempo line?
Yep.
Okay, so I had to work on that a lot, like in the beginning. So coming from that, learning that I need to transition there, because at first I wasn't, I was like all the way back there. And now I'm like up closer. So.
The biggest adjustment too might like just be the speed in terms of the type of balls that we expect the middles to hit are usually a lot faster in offense than maybe like the outside, which is all the way on the left, or the right side, which is all the way on the right. They tend to have higher sets, so they have a little bit more time. But in the middle, it's quick, nonstop quickness. So
that was your position in college.
It was, and I had one relief day where I got to be a right side, which to me, when I think about it, and I tell the girls all the time, if you're on the right side, I really just need you to block. That's really the most important thing. And so we were having a tough time against an opponent, and I got switched during the game, and I loved it because it was a little bit of a break. But yeah, the middle is continuing to just transition off the net quickly, and then moving left to right. You've got to have good lateral movement.
Okay. As a coach who used to be a middle, kind of get to mold
Oh
Tori.
yeah. I've got the middles, and Brooke has the setters. So yeah, we just need a DS person now.
So next step is recruiting.
Yeah.
So now that the season's over with, you still gonna kind of like concentrate on conditioning, but how do you plan on balancing your conditioning life and your I gotta still hit these books life?
Okay.
Lots of candy late night, right?
I do that. But I have this dry erase board where I just write everything out. I feel like if I write things out, it's just easier because like once I cross it out, it's like relief, everything off of me. And like just having like me time sometimes. Sometimes you need that so you can just kind of like gather yourself so you can take on the next thing. I was just thinking about that because I was like, oh my goodness, I have this to do, I have that to do. But you just have to like, just be calm, be like, and take it. Just don't let the stress like overwhelm you. Just have a good attitude about it.
Okay. So going into your sophomore season next year, what do you want Owls fans to know about Owls volleyball and the next step for you?
For the Owls as a whole, just that we're building, we're getting better and better. For me, I want to be better too as well. If I'm honest, I wish I could have did better like this season that just passed. Just getting my mental together, I guess. Being stronger, being a leader more.
Okay, and Coach, your ideas for stepping to the next season?
I think that a huge piece that we're going to continue to try to work on is outreach to the student body, and just having those other students come out and support. The season came up on us fast. It felt like I didn't have a year to prepare. It felt like I had 5 minutes, and so by the time preseason came and we were working on practicing and hitting the ground with getting prepared for our first games in August, it was quick, and so I feel like a lot of that maybe got lost in the mix. So biggest thing I can say is to just come out and show your support. It really means a lot, and I think it helps in terms of the home game atmosphere, definitely.
Will you have any spring games that people can come kind of watch you next year?
Sure don't, unfortunately. We'll have, right now scheduling for fall 2018, and in the spring for Division III, it's a short period of time. It's really only 5 weeks 4 days a week basically. And so, like I said, it's compact time where I'm going to pretty much be focusing on making the girls better. And if there's an opportunity in the spring to maybe have like a play date, I'll definitely keep you posted.
All right. Well, thank you both. We both enjoyed talking to you guys today. I wish you best of luck in your future endeavors and hope to see a really good, strong 2018 team.
Yeah, thanks so much.
All right. Thank you.